Did you know there's a part of your soul that just wants to get stuff done? Doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to think about it, just wants to get stuff done, accomplish things, results, impact. That part of the soul is called the Nefesh. Let's talk about the Nefesh. We're now going to talk about the lowest level of the soul. Remember, we said there are 5 levels of the soul, and we're going to talk about, in this video, specifically the Nefesh, which means the life force of the soul. So this lowest level of the soul is the part that God allows itself to enclose and become more physical and more materialistic in order for it to enter our bodies when we are born. Kabbalah teaches us that when the fetus is developing in the womb, the soul hovers over the womb. And when the baby is born, the soul enters the body. The part of the soul that we're talking about is the Nefesh. The Nefesh is the blood, is the life force, is what keeps the person alive. When you feel something, when you are something, your consciousness, that's all you're coming from your Nefesh. When a person passes away, that's when the Nefesh leaves the body, because now there is nothing to keep the clothing of the body, in other words, the cells and the blood and the organs to continue functioning. It's the Nefesh that makes all of that come alive. Now, what does the Nefesh mean to us? So God allows this part of the soul, even though this is still God's spiritual, divine energy coming down into our body, God allows this part of the soul to feel the materialism of the world. This part of the soul comes in to be our animalistic human self, to help us feel independent, to help us feel like a functioning human being, to give us the ability to live in this world and marvel and grow and become a full-fledged human being. Pain is felt in the Nefesh. Any sort of excitement or emotions, those are all felt in the Nefesh. It's not the heart. The heart is just pumping blood. The Nefesh is what's feeling everything. The Nefesh is also in our brains, in our consciousness, in our feelings, in our thoughts. Everything is found in the Nefesh. So what does the Nefesh mean to us? What are we supposed to do with this element of the soul? How does it empower us? And how do we live a better life knowing about our Nefesh and connecting to our Nefesh? So let's first talk about the purpose of the Nefesh. The purpose is for you have a godly spirit, a godly divine element coming into a physical human body and partnering with the human body to do good in the world, to go above and beyond its natural means. So being alive and laying in bed is, you could still be alive and the Nefesh is there, and the Nefesh is keeping this person alive. But your purpose is for the Nefesh and with the body to get up and do something in the world, accomplish something in the world, unite body and soul, and be able to have an impact in the world around you, on the people around you, and fulfill your unique mission given to you by God. That is fulfilled through the Nefesh. That's not meant to be filled by the higher levels of the soul, which hover above us and are not necessarily enclosed in the materialism the way the Nefesh is. So whatever we accomplish, it has to be with the Nefesh. We cannot be spiritual theoretically. We cannot be a good person theoretically. We cannot be a happy person theoretically. It has to materialize. It has to come down to our full animalistic self, where we feel joy, we feel happiness, we feel love, we feel caring for others. For example, if you meditate for a very long time about doing a good thing for someone else, giving charity to someone else, or helping another person, but you don't actually go through with it, so all that meditating, what was it for? It's the Nefesh that actually wants to take the action. It's the Nefesh that empowers your hands and empowers your feet to go do the action. So the Nefesh wants everything to be real and practical and realistic. So what does that mean for our lives? Is that we can never get too caught up in the theoretical thought process, discussions, ideas. Those are all good. But it always has to have, okay, what does this mean for me now? How is this going to make my life better and those around me better? What am I going to do differently? It's like when you read an inspirational book or inspirational quote, or you go to an inspirational lecture or seminar. So there always has to be the takeaway about what you're going to do different, how you're going to live different. That's your Nefesh talking. Your Nefesh wants things brought down into the reality of your life, into the reality of your existence, and in the action of your existence. It can't just be something that it's a good idea, or it's on an index card, or it's on some note on your phone. It has to be part of your life. It has to impact your life, and it has to have a measurable and a realistic difference in your life. So the final lesson, the final message here is that whenever you hear a good idea, whenever you hear something inspiring, whenever you learn something inspiring, you should always think about, how am I going to change my life? What am I going to do different? What habit am I going to change? What good idea am I going to adopt as a practical idea? How is this going to make a difference in other people's lives? It can't just be, oh my gosh, there are people suffering, or oh my gosh, how do we must help people. It has to be, what am I going to do differently? What are going to be my action steps? Everything should always be results focused, results minded, and should have that impact that you're trying to achieve versus just be a theoretical afterthought. Thank you so much. And next week, we will talk about the next level of the soul, which is called the Ruach, the spirit of the soul. So stay tuned.